How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. As promised from when we talked about yesterday, we did a recap of the starting offensive line from Week 7 as the Chiefs took down the Las Vegas Raiders. If you did miss that podcast, be sure you go check it out. You can see it on wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube at Sports Videos on SI. Everything gets posted there. Not even just by me, by our wonderful crew covering several different sports. Be sure you check it out. But today, like promised, as I said, we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and their biggest threat, in my opinion, in my eyes, going into for the rest of the season. And it's the Denver Broncos. Now, I know going into this season, there was a three-headed race for the AFC West division between the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos. While some people thought, oh, maybe the Las Vegas Raiders could be a sneaky wild card team, I think that they've shown their identity and their struggles have kind of pushed them out to where I believe that this is a three-franchise race for that AFC West division title. Now, you got to keep in mind all three teams made the playoffs last season. As we know, Kansas City went all the way to the Super Bowl, but got denied of their three-peat. However, when looking at the teams on paper going into Week 8 against for the Chiefs, it's against the Washington Commanders, but there's a very tall task to be done. So, and to be held. So, the Broncos currently sit in first place in the AFC West division with a record of 5-2, while the Chargers and the Chiefs have a record of 4-3. Now, the Chiefs started off 0-2, then they bounced back, got 2 wins, then they lost, and they won, and then they won again. And, you know, they've been a tremendous team to kind of claw their way back out of the big blowouts and the devastating losses that they had, to where they look like a really fearful team in the AFC West, let alone the entire division, the entire conference. But Denver is also riding a 4-game winning streak, and I think that their victory over the New York Giants, which they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter, by the way, and came back to win it all, is a testament of how important it is to take the Denver Broncos seriously. Now, going into this season, I made the prediction that I believe that it is an area to pay attention to in the AFC West, in the matchups and all that, to pay attention to the Broncos versus the Chiefs. They face off later in the second half of the season after Kansas City's bye week. And those are going to be games that, in my opinion, I think they're going to be more valuable than games against like the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, don't get me wrong. The Kansas City Chiefs, no way, shape, or form should take the Los Angeles Chargers lightly. They got defeated by them in Week 1 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, to really kind of dampen the opener for the Chiefs season. But the way that Denver's playing, the statistics that they have, a strong suit of coming through the kind of like a 1-2 start and then breaking their way into win columns after taking down teams like the Giants or teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, something that the Chiefs haven't been able to do in the last 2 times that they played off against them. You know, there's areas where I think the Chiefs thrive on offense, and there's also other areas where I think Denver thrives on offense. Keep in mind, both teams have a very elite quarterback. Bo Nix is the quarterback for the Broncos. Thus far this season, through 7 games, he has 1,556 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Keep in mind also that they have a better ground game than Kansas City does. Patrick Mahomes went through the first 7 weeks of the season leading the Kansas City Chiefs with, in rushing yards. And finally, Isaiah Pacheco has been able to jump through and make his way past Mahomes in that category, but he's still, he's on his tail. But then you look at Denver, they've got a rushing crew that really just runs through J.K. Dobbins, as he's got 523 rushing yards, 3 big 20 or more yard runs, and 4 touchdowns. Keep in mind also that Bo Nix, he's not as he is a very mobile quarterback as well. Something that I think benefits the way of playing that the Denver Broncos have. Going into this season, so many people thought, I've seen it so many different places, that the Broncos are the team to beat in the AFC West. And in my mind, before even covering the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe always that to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I've said that multiple times on the podcast before, and they have yet to beat the man. The Kansas City Chiefs have run the AFC West for 9 straight years and looking for their 10th. You also have to keep in mind that now that Kansas City has a healthy wide receiving room and a stable wide receiving room in the form of Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce's even being a factor, that receiving core for Mahomes is going to be an asset for Kansas City going on the road of trying to win another AFC West division title. But Denver, they've got some guys to keep in mind as well. Cortland Sutton has 469 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns scored, 33 receptions. Troy Franklin, 269 receiving yards in 27 receptions. Evan Ingram, a former Jacksonville Jaguar, in 6 games played, 22 receptions, 179 receiving yards. A lot of these guys have scored touchdowns. That's how they work. That's how they get successful. On the other side of things for Kansas City, when you're talking about their defense, I would say that the way that the Kansas City Chiefs defense has played as of recently, that could definitely be the caveat on sending them to success. Because, in recency bias, I guess you would say, the Denver Broncos, they haven't played the best defensively. They allowed 32 points in this last game. But beforehand, there are some areas where they do play very, very well. They held the Philadelphia Eagles to 17 points, the Cincinnati Bengals to 3 points, the New York Jets to 11 points. But I think the biggest and more impressive area is the fact that they held the Philadelphia Eagles to 17 points. Now, if you keep in mind, when looking at this early on into the season, the Kansas City Chiefs scored 17 points to lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's really a flip in the case. They beat Philadelphia, lost to Denver 21-17, and Philadelphia beat Kansas City 2017. So if you look at those two matchups against the Super Bowl champions, as well as how they've been able to progress since those games, I would say the defense very much leans in the favor of Kansas City. They just shut out the Las Vegas Raiders. They allowed 17 points to the Detroit Lions, another team that is a juggernaut in the NFC. I think that these both teams are kind of neck and neck, and it's going to be important to watch and who's going to take that step forward. And you've also got to keep an eye on the Los Angeles Chargers. But all in all, I do think that the teams to watch in the AFC West, especially for the Kansas City Chiefs to be able to claim their 10th straight division title, is the Denver Broncos. I don't care if you play in them 1 week or if you don't play them for the next 6 weeks. You've got to keep an eye on them. You've got to study the way that they play. You've got to know them in and out, so then when you do play them, it is a game where you can have some momentum on your side. Keep in mind, Kansas City is riding a 2-game winning streak going into Week 8 against the Washington Commanders, a game that would be very, very, very crucial to win for them to push finally 2 games above 500 and 3 straight wins. As always, though, folks, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. I post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs while we roll into Week 8 as well as throughout the regular season. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI over on X, where every single story gets posted there. Because you know what? Kansas City Chiefs on SI is the place to get your Kansas City Chiefs news. The best coverage all day, every day. As always, folks, be kind to one another. I'll see you tomorrow.